Hey Effects, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you've all been doing well. If this is your first time here, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a single notification from me. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my spiritual awakening journey. This has actually been very exhilarating. Like, there's lots of energy in and around me. It's been absolutely amazing, and I decided to record this video and to share with you my spiritual journey just in case it's going to help somebody. Maybe you're going through something similar and you don't quite understand what it is, and I hope it will especially help you to better understand your emotional and spiritual well-being so that you can know how to, go through the phases. Ever since I was a little girl, I actually have been a spiritual empath. I can feel people's energy and their vibes and all of that. I remember some story years back, my granny always used to say, Thandi, when you're about 5 years old, there was a time that you came to me and you're like, Gogo, do you know what a snake sounds like? It goes like a few weeks later, something crazy happened in our hometown that involved snakes. So yeah, it's a bit weird, it's a bit scary, but yeah, that's just one example where I was told that, this has been something that's been happening to me since I was a very little girl. I didn't quite understand or know what it was. I just knew that, okay, when I'm around certain people, I can actually feel their energy before they tell me what they're going through. And I asked them, how are you? And they can try to be strong and be like, no, I'm okay. But I can feel that this person's really not doing all right. Like, I can tell that something's really, really off. What I would say is it takes a lot of energy from me feeling like that because, you can walk into a room. I remember when it really, really hit me because sometimes the forces can just be really, really strong. Like, the energy is immense. And I remember we're celebrating my 26th birthday. We went out with a couple of friends and I just felt like a wave of sadness, guys. Like, everyone there, even when I was looking at them, like, just the aura around them just didn't sit right with me. So I think that is when I really started to realize that, maybe I might be going through something. And then the following days after that, I actually fell very, very ill. So I did a bit of research in terms of all of this, and I actually spoke to a very good friend of mine. Her name's Rati. She's the one who helped me realize that, this is what this is called, what you're feeling and what you've been going through. And I did a bit more research on my own to find out how I can be able to, harness my energy to be one with the universe. So basically, for those who are not aware, spiritual awakening is when you start feeling your energy being more in line with the rest of the universe. I'm also going to point out a few ways that can show you that maybe you may be going through a spiritual awakening. I started noticing that I would want sudden change in my life, whether it's diet or stopping hanging out with certain people, or just deciding, tomorrow I'm going to wake up, I'm going to start doing this differently in my life. I started saying that, I maybe want to try being pescatarian. This was the very first time. This was around 2019. I tried it for about a month. It was actually really great for me. And I could tell with the change in my energy as well, like, my energy was great. Like, I had more energy to do things. I wasn't as tired. I don't know if you guys are aware. I think I've mentioned it before, and I'm actually anemic. I've got low iron in my blood. Sometimes the energy levels are just so low, man. Like, I want to wake up and do certain things, but I just feel so tired. Even after resting for a whole night, I can just feel like, it's just a bit much for me. Like, I don't feel okay. So when I started changing my diet, I felt better. And also last year, 2020, I decided not for 1 week, I want to try going vegan. So that meant no dairy products and no meat. And that too was great. Like, even changes in my skin, I could tell. Just overall, my energy, like, I was just much more happier. And I also stopped drinking alcohol as much. I wouldn't say I was an addict or something, or I couldn't live without it, but I frequently used to drink. But when I stopped, again, my energy levels were higher and I was starting to get more vivid dreams, and I kept on seeing similar numbers. Maybe I can look somewhere and I keep seeing the number 70 or number 10. And I started also researching what that meant. And those are called angel numbers. That's another thing that you need to look out for. Sometimes the spirit can be telling you certain messages if it can't reach you in certain ways. Maybe it's through dreams or whatever. It can come through numbers. You can start seeing the same number over and over. The dreams that you'll be dreaming about, they become more vivid and you can get more clearer answers about questions that you might have. And that's another thing that I've always had since I was a little girl. I always dream about something, maybe an event. I remember when I was much younger, I would dream about someone I know. And usually my dreams are not, they're funny, like, oh, we're just walking, or I'm running with someone, or I'm just talking to somebody. But these ones would be much more vivid and more intense, and I always remember every single thing that happens. And lo and behold, a couple of days later or weeks later, that exact same thing happens. I'm with that person I would have dreamt about, talking about the exact same thing that we would have been talking about in my dream. And I just thought that, listen, let me do more things that can help me harness my energy. Dreams are obviously maybe the Holy Spirit telling me something. If you're Christian or if you're atheist, maybe the vibes are telling you something in regards to whatever religion you go to. I'm a Christian, so I always believed that dreams are the Holy Spirit's way of communicating with me. Another way that can tell you that you may be going through a spiritual awakening is when you're more in touch with nature or things around you. I remember a time where I'd just go walking around and I would be mesmerized by a flower or a different plant, and I'll be like, that plant is so yellow, it's so green, like what's going on with it? And I'll just stand there for several minutes just studying it and looking at it and marveling at it. So that's another way that you can see that you may be going through another spiritual awakening. As well as when you're around animals, they just stop and just stare at you. I used to think, oh my gosh, maybe something's really wrong with me, or something's weird, maybe something's around me. Why are these animals just staring at me, especially dogs? Or even when I went to the rural areas, I would see like the animals, especially the goats or the cows, would just be looking at me in this intense way, and I'm like, whoa, this is a lot. This is a lot for me. When I tried to ignore, I would get really negative emotions. I'm going to mention especially anger. If you know me, I'm a very happy person. But then when I am pushed to the limit, like, I lose it. And sometimes I can blurt out things or do things that I don't really mean to be doing because I'm very impulsive as well. So that's another negative way in which the spiritual awakening can hit you if forced to ignore it. I know this has affected some people around me, but I've been working on it on my own personal growth as well to better understand my emotional and spiritual welfare so that I can be able to be a better person to everybody around me and to also accept that, I'm going through this spiritual awakening. What can I do? How am I going to become better? Another negative thing that it can have on you, the spiritual awakening, you can have really immense negative emotions such as depression or anxiety or even fatigue. Back then, I used to think that maybe my fatigue is to do with my low iron, but it was more than that. I would feel in my soul that, I'm just not happy. Like, what is going on? Everything's going great. What is going on? Why am I feeling so sad? And I actually battled with it for a couple of years, but I managed to find myself again. I did a bit of meditation to make myself feel better. I did a bit of yoga. I exercised more. And I also even spoke to people about how I'm feeling, and that's been really helpful for me. The way that you can actually help yourself to become more in tune with your spiritual awakening is to do things that genuinely make you happy. I've seen that people prefer doing maybe chakra. You can make sure that your chakra is in line, and you can do tarot card readings, or you can do collecting crystals that can help you with your mood. You can place them around your whole house. Maybe in every room you can place your crystals. That can also be very helpful to some people. For me, I've found that writing down things, journaling, or even talking to people about how I'm feeling has really helped me. And another thing that has helped me is aromatherapy. So basically, aromatherapy is just having things around you that smell great, because once I smell something, my mood changes and I feel a certain way and I just feel happy. So it's maybe about my moisturizers or what I'm using to shower with, that smells great, or I burn even incense in my house, maybe different scents. That's also been really, really helpful as well. So that really helps me when I'm having like intense phases in my spiritual awakening, when it's maybe my dreams. I make sure that I burn some incense before I go to bed, and that helps me to have a better sleep and better dreams. And then when I wake up, I can be like, oh, so my dream, I saw this, maybe it's going to help me with that. I actually have moments where I pray before I sleep and I say, God, there's this and this that's happening in my life. I don't know how to handle it. And I know some people can be like, it's going to take time, but for me, I get those dreams instantaneously. That same night when I've prayed about it, I get those dreams answering those questions that I've been having. Or I can have somebody who I'm talking to can come to me maybe a few days later to tell me, and they just start talking about whatever I've prayed about, and that kind of also helps me. And I remember, oh, maybe this is the energy in the universe coming back to me. Like I mentioned earlier on in the video, I mentioned how I went out to celebrate my birthday and I was around so many people, and I'm a spiritual empath and I felt different energies. So one example where I was like, this is the universe getting back to me and the Holy Spirit telling me what I'm going through. I actually spoke about it with one of my friends from high school, and I said, dude, I don't even feel like going out anymore, even if it's to lunch with friends, because I feel people's energy, like it sometimes gets so intense and very loud, and I don't know how to handle it. And they just explained, like, dude, everybody's going through something in life, so you also have to be very understanding of them. And sometimes it's not about their sadness. Maybe they're trying to be happy so that they forget about their problems. This is their version of their reality that they're creating so that they're much more happier. Nobody wants to go on with life carrying their problems, because when you carry those problems, you end up being stressed or tired. Like I mentioned, when I was feeling those immense emotions and energies, I ended up having ulcers, like things like that, things that I've never suffered with, but because I've applied so much pressure on my soul and on my body, I ended up causing ailments to my body. So try to do things that can help you to release any negative energy. That also leads me to talking about Sonder. Sonder is basically realizing that everybody that you come across is going through something just as intense as you are. So always remember that. I think myself as an empath, I've been using this ever since I found out that, this is actually there's something that exists. I did know back then that, everybody goes through things. But now when I started realizing it more and studying more about how everything goes, it's been really helpful to myself and my spiritual welfare and well-being. What I would like to do to help myself grow and get better in my spiritual awakening, I would love to get myself a Tibetan singing bowl. I'm going to insert a picture right here. You can just ring it every day, every time when you wake up or when you feel like you need to balance your energy. These can help with meditation, can help to remove toxins around you or inside you, and can help you to just overall relax. So I'd like to get that for myself, and I really urge you to get one for yourself if you're going through a spiritual awakening of your own. Another thing that I'd love to do is to go on ayahuasca. Basically, ayahuasca is from the Amazon area. I want to go specifically to the one in Argentina. You drink it and you have a guide sitting next to you, and it's about 4 to 5 days. You go there and you drink it, and you have a guide who will be taking you through your emotions, because once you take it, you start to release any negative energy. Sometimes people have felt overwhelming emotions. You can actually start crying. Some people have even thrown up. Some people have even released the bowels. So it's really intense. If you have gone through some trauma or something that you can't get over, I really highly recommend ayahuasca once in your life to just go and cleanse all the negative toxins out of you, and whether they're emotional or physical that have been implanted on you. Maybe even when you're a child, sometimes things happen to you when you're younger and you get selective memory and you forget that you suffered a specific trauma. Through ayahuasca, you can actually remember all of that, recall all of it, and you can be able to get all that negative energy out of you. So I hope this video was really informative and helpful to somebody. I know it's been very helpful for me. I've been contemplating recording this video because I always battle like, you're a Christian, should you be talking about the spiritual awakening stuff? But then I prayed about it, and you know what? The Holy Spirit comes to us all in different ways, and I feel like this is my way that has been coming to me, and I feel like I've actually been getting closer to God, or the version of God that I've been taught, as well as the version of God that I want to have for myself, to have a better relationship with Him. So I hope this video is helpful to somebody, and thank you so much for watching.